Hello and thanks for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Naja'atu Tijani, and you can follow this broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and all our social media handles and platforms displayed on the screen for updates. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured Nigerians that the federal government will continue to implement programs in the power sector, which will extend national power generation capacity. The president stated this while inaugurating the Maiduguri Emergency Power Project in Borno State, executed by the NNPC. The 50-megawatt project is coming after Maiduguri was thrown into darkness following the destruction of power infrastructure by insurgents in 2021.
The government and people of Borno State for this feat. I do hope that the undaunted spirit of the new NNPC Limited will continue to engender affordable energy for all Nigerians, not just for the immediate, but for the years ahead.
Accordingly, the NNPC as an enabler of national energy security intervened through the installation of scalable 50-megawatt gas-fired power plant to help restore reliable power supply to Maiduguri and its environments. Therefore, the joy and appreciation of the good people of Borno State to this benevolence of federal government cannot be overstressed.
The president, who was on a working visit, also inspected the burnt Monday market in Maiduguri and other projects executed by the Governor Babagana Umar Zulum administration. And moments after receiving his certificate of return from INEC, the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu was at the Daura residence of President Muhammadu Buhari in Katsina State to show appreciation for his leadership, support and guidance, which led to the victory of the APC at the polls. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports that the Vice President-elect Senator Kashim Shettima also came calling, and they were accompanied on the visit by the party's national chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, several progressive governors and other chieftains of the governing party. During the visit, both the president-elect and the vice president-elect presented their certificates of return to President Muhammadu Buhari. The elated President Buhari and his guests later held talks on a wide range of issues behind closed doors for about 30 minutes, but details were not disclosed. The president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu later spoke to newsmen on the reason for making Daura his first point of call after receiving the certificate of return.
As a very loyal party man, come to present the certificate of election to him as the party leader, and commend his effort in this supporting democracy in Africa. This is the largest democracy in Africa, and we couldn't have done any better. We're lucky. There's no incident, there's no accident, and no matter how provocative it is, we still have to tolerate it if we are Democrats and we have a nation to build. So
what are you taking away from your engagement with the president this evening?
The calmness and commitment, and the fact that after voting, it taught us again dedication to our party. This place is ballot paper. What to say? Loyalty to the party, and being ready to build a future for all of us. And no matter how how tempting the problem of democracy is following the process, building a successor, and ready to hand over, peacefully in Africa. It's a big deal now. It's a very big deal.
Have you started receiving messages of goodwill and congratulations?
Oh, very, very, very many of that already. Very many. In fact, as far as Europe, the stock market reacted positively well. There was a good message of best wishes from Macron, the president of France. So that's.
And for more on the goodwill messages, the United States has congratulated the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, all political leaders and Nigerians for the successful conduct of the presidential and parliamentary elections. The U.S. in a statement notes the competitive election represents a new era for Nigerian politics and democracy, reflecting the diversity of views which characterize the campaign and the wishes of Nigeria's voters. The government therefore joins other international observers in urging INEC to improve in the areas which need the most attention ahead of the March 11 governorship election. In a similar vein, Chairman ECOWAS Heads of State and Government, Umaru Siseko Embalo, has also congratulated Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his emergence as the president-elect. In a message, the ECOWAS helmsman urges all those aggrieved by the outcome to utilize constitutional means to resolve grievances. Similarly, the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, has congratulated the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who will take over the mantle of leadership come May 29, 2023. In a statement, the First Lady expresses confidence that the president-elect will lead this country into the future which our forefathers envisioned. She also congratulates the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima and applauds the important role of women for voting the candidates of the APC. Complimentary messages to the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu have continued to reverberate across the country. Senate, on its part, has assured the president-elect of the support of the 10th Senate. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko reports.
The mood in the Senate was that of mixed feelings. An increased number of senators in attendance compared to that of Tuesday, those who won re-election and those who lost. But national assignment must go on. Plenary commenced with President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, congratulating the President-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The winner of the presidential election of 2023, Senator Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was declared winner by INEC. Pray that this country would see more and better development and progress. And we also pray that the Senate, the 10th Senate, will provide the kind of support that the President-elect would need for the betterment of our country.
Two bills were passed for second reading. The Federal College of Education Technical Iwo Osun State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Adelere Oriolonwo, and the Federal Orthopedic Center Hitu Boma Imo State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Frank Ibezim.
To develop and offer academic, technical, and professional programs leading to the award of certificates, first degree, postgraduate, research, diploma, and higher education.
The institution has actually been put in place by Executive VHAT, but just as is expected, it's necessary to have necessary backing.
To also offer a new approach to healthcare that focuses on compassionate, personalized attention for every patient and the very best specialists and advanced treatments in the orthopedic fields.
Senate has confirmed the nomination of Mahmouda Issa for appointment as Resident Electoral Commissioner to represent Kebbi State in the Independent National Electoral Commission. Senate adjourned plenary to Thursday, the 2nd of March 2023. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The presidential and National Assembly elections are done and dusted, with President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerging the winner after a keenly contested match. But the intrigues and impressions left by the Independent National Electoral Commission remain subject to discourse. But guests on Good Morning Nigeria say there are more positive outlooks than negative ones. Daniel Adiri reports.
Long, tense and even tiring wait. But in the early hours of March 1st, 2023, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was declared winner of the 2023 presidential polls.
That Tinubu Bola Ahmed of the APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Guests on Good Morning Nigeria believe that, while the elections were far from perfect, due credit must be given to INEC for ensuring that the democratic will of Nigerians prevailed.
An acknowledgement of irregularities in certain areas and certain polling stations is not an acknowledgement of the total collapse of the entire election. I do acknowledge it has happened, but were they substantial enough to affect the entire outcome of the election?
They also noted that while the introduction of the Beavers technology to the electoral process of result collation is a welcome development, grey areas such as connectivity and network access need to be addressed ahead of the governorship and State House of Assembly elections.
The technology that was supposed to give a fillip, to the integrity of the election became the basis for questioning the integrity of the election. And I think that's what we really need to begin to think about ways and means of addressing the issue.
The INEC chairman said that the result that they are working with, it's the result that was uploaded on the Beavers. So every candidate should go back to their agents and find out exactly what happened.
They urged all political parties to cease fire and instead fashion out ways to work together in building a better Nigeria. In Abuja, Daniel Adiriye, NTA News.
Thank you, Daniel. Meanwhile, Nigerians resident in Ilorin, Kwara State have commended the Independent National Electoral Commission for declaring the winner of Saturday's presidential election despite efforts at scuttling the process. Those who spoke with NTA News see the emergence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a true reflection of the popular mandate. Abdullah Afiz Alaya reports.
Nigerians on Saturday came out in their numbers to elect another president who will succeed incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari. The declaration of the winner of the presidential election against all odds, people believe, is a good omen for nation's democracy.
The next opponent is 6 million. Next to it is 6 million. You can imagine. That shows for what everybody, that means one man, one vote, work.
Constitution of Nigeria said that you have to have 25% in 24 states, and you have to have the highest number of votes in the country, and he had it, so he deserves it.
The keenly contested election has produced a deserving winner, a first-class chartered accountant, an experienced politician. Public expectation, therefore, is for all parties to accept the people's verdict and move on in the interest of all.
Any of them deserve it. So it has fair to hand. Now they should join hand. Let's move Nigeria forward.
You have to bury your personal interest and support this president-elect now. And the president-elect, you cannot do it alone. You have to accommodate opposition.
While Nigerians are advised to remain calm in the face of provocation, INEC is encouraged to up its game and correct the noticeable shortfalls ahead of the coming elections.
The President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu says the best way to thank his supporters and Nigerians for his victory in the just concluded presidential election is to work hard towards strengthening the unity of Nigerians. The President-elect made the commitment on receiving the National Working Committee of his party, the All Progressives Congress, on a congratulatory visit. The National Working Committee members were led by the party's national chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, to the private residence of the president-elect in Asokoro. The meeting also had Governor Atiku Abubakar Bagudu of Kebbi State, former governors Aliyu Wamako of Sokoto and Abdul Aziz Yari of Zamfara states, making them the first set of official visitors to the president-elect. Musbao Danwahab will furnish us with details in subsequent bulletins. Now, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Adamu, says the party's victory at the presidential polls for the third time within 10 years of its formation has showcased the development of democracy in Nigeria. This was while addressing the media at the party's national secretariat in Abuja, where he dedicated the party's presidential victory to all Nigerians. Salihu Gwanara will also furnish us with details in subsequent bulletins. And the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has announced his decision to challenge the results of the presidential election in court. This was during his interaction with newsmen in Abuja. But Mr. Obi, however, commended Nigerians for coming out en masse in last Saturday's election, charging them not to lose hope in the journey for a new Nigeria.
Let me humbly and most respectfully appeal to all Nigerians to remain peaceful, law-abiding, and conduct themselves in most responsible manner. Please be assured that Dati and I, and indeed all of us, this is not the end, but the beginning of the journey for a birth of new Nigeria.
It's time to join our Lagos Network Center, where Hingino is standing by with more updates.
It is jubilation for party members of the All Progressives Congress in Lagos who gathered at the party secretariat after their candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu was declared the president-elect. Lanre Bileyi, who was at the party secretariat, brings details.
The requirements of the law is hereby declared the winner.
With the announcement of the APC candidate as president-elect, I promptly went to the state secretariat in Ikeja, Lagos to get reactions from party members. I met the chieftains of the party discussing the election and consolidation of their activities. They described the victory as hard-won and that they have learned to shift the dynamics of politicking to become more detailed, strategic, and inclusive.
I must be sincere with you. After the election, last week Saturday, it has been very, very tense. But we are hopeful that with what our candidate has done, with the sort of mobilization and the assurance, and along with the acceptability of the candidate, we are pretty sure that he's going to win.
I don't think we've had such an election in recent times. Maybe because of the beavers and because of the enlightenment of the electorates themselves. And that is what we are saying. Once the demographics change, we must also have some changes.
Right here at the Lagos State Party Secretariat of the APC in Ikeja, it's been congratulatory message and patting each other at the back, breathing a sigh of relief that their candidate is now the president-elect, that is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In Lagos, Lanre Bileyi, NTA News.
Still on the election, some Lagosians are still celebrating the victory of Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Nigeria's president-elect. Annie Daniels reports that as the celebration continues, the expectation from the incoming administration is high.
Since the announcement of the presidential election result,
Lagos has remained calm and socio-economic activities are gradually taking shape while the residents are going about their businesses. Getting people to speak on their impression on the just concluded general election was very easy, with virtually all of them quickly speaking of their expectations from the president-elect.
Let those farmers in the village invest on them, get them tractors. Hardly before you can see farmers that are cultivating with cutlasses, hoes. They do work with tractors these days.
People that are not interested in staying in the city, we can stay in the hinterland. If the facilities are there, the roads are good. If you have the internet, everything running.
Our doctors and nurses, they are leaving the country. They try and equip them, give them what you call a standard hospital, because they should pay them very well. They should increase their salary.
Nigerians are also expecting infrastructural growth, particularly power. They hope the park can be greater in quantity and in quality, so that our industrial growth, our industrial development can take place more rapidly.
These respondents say more youths are interested in engaging in large-scale farming, urging the incoming administration to make the sector more attractive. Curbing insecurity and implementing people-friendly policies are other areas of demand from the president-elect, with hope that when these are achieved, they will surely have a Nigeria of their dream. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time now for a break. The news will be back with Felicia in Jos.
History, so either you know it or you don't.
My advice to the younger generation is that they should learn from what we have started and what we have left.
I did things that ordinarily I should not have been doing. What that meant was that I was working hard.
Whatever assignment you are given in life, put in your best.
The military years were a disaster.
Smoldering effects of all that is what we are trying to cure.
Itself is life. Once you lose hope, you lose life.
Once people get lifted to a certain level, they start feeling godlike.
What would you attribute this backwardness in education to in the not to date?
I feel believe.
What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
The program is Reflections.
Chelsea take the early lead in this London derby.
Christensen and straight away, what a hit! Rodrigo!
Sportybet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
Goal having trouble here, keeping them away from goal. Diaz bends it!
It's a storming run by Davies and Choupo-Moting.
Oh, there's plenty of space for Koulibaly. That's his first touch of the ball. That's his second, and that's Stuttgart's third.
Forward by Kimmich. Loose header by Liner, and in by Matistel.
Sportybet sponsors coverage of the German Bundesliga.
on to Nationwide. Welcome to Jos. Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Raji Fashola says the construction of roads across Nigerian tertiary institutions is a major policy of the federal government towards improving human condition, support to education, and creating job opportunities for the people. He said this while handing over 1.4-kilometer road network rehabilitated at the Federal College of Education, Panshin. Ijoma Ozamena has details.
Federal government rehabilitated the 1.04-kilometer internal roads at the Federal College of Education, Panshin, to give the institution a befitting look after years of hardship due to its deplorable nature. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, represented by the Federal Controller of Works, Usman Abubakar, says government has stepped up work in all sectors of the economy, adding that the country is steadily reducing the gap of infrastructure needs through repairs, renewal and rehabilitation of roads in federal institutions.
We just commissioned the same project, internal road, at University of Jos here. And we have been doing that in various institutions, tertiary institutions in the country.
Provost of the college, represented, expresses delight over the project, noting that the entrance of the school now wears a new look, while some of the students appreciate the federal government for the gesture.
The rate of accidents that our staff were experiencing before, because they have to follow the main road from the college to the quarters, they now follow the one inside.
It means easy access to school halls and lectures. I'm so happy with this construction because it's giving us a good environment to study.
So far, the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing has completed and handed over 64 internal road projects in various federal tertiary institutions, while 38 are ongoing. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemina, NTA News.
Director General Industrial Training Fund, Joseph Ari, has expressed the commitment of the fund to continue to improve on its mandate of training Nigerians towards self-reliance and efficiency. The ITF helmsman was speaking at the 2022 end-of-year performance review meeting held at its headquarters in Jos with the theme, National Apprenticeship and Traineeship System, a pathway to job and wealth creation. Caleb Guchin takes it from here.
Gathered in this auditorium are management and staff of the fund, drawn from its offices nationwide, whom the Director General described as the force behind the successes recorded by the ITF. Joseph Ari notes that despite the myriad of challenges confronting the polity, ITF has been able to meet and even surpass its targets in the implementation of special skills intervention programs, where more than 50,000 Nigerians have been trained, with similar successes in revenue generation.
Therefore, that if faithfully implemented, NAT has the potential to drastically reduce unemployment, afford the youth the opportunity to earn income while learning and enhance eligibility for finance and other forms of assistance while on training.
That this year review meeting will not only afford us opportunity to access our performances, but also assist us to chart a new course for improving our performances and efforts towards actualization of the fund's mandate.
The two-day meeting is expected to receive the 2022 corporate scorecard and discuss the Director General's address, culminating with awards to deserving staff. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Najatu in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide. Najatu?
Thank you, Felicia. And welcome back to our Abuja studios. We're talking issues pertaining to the election matters and the just concluded election, and the National Human Rights Commission is urging Nigerians to be patient with the electoral process. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Tony Ojukwu, said this in Abuja during the monthly review forum geared at voter mobilization for the 2023 election.
You recall that before 2023 general elections,
Human rights issues were not part of the election issues on the table discussed. But for us as a commission, we insisted that this time around, the issues to be discussed on the table must include human rights issues. You saw us organize presidential town hall on human rights, which had never happened in this country before. You saw us also organize gubernatorial town halls on human rights, which are all precedent-setting initiatives by the Commission.
The forum dwelled mainly on complaints received by the Human Rights Situation Room with regards to the presidential and National Assembly elections. The Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room is urging all political parties and aggrieved parties to pursue well-established constitutional and legal remedies available to them to go through democratic process of courts following declaration of results of the 25 February 2023 presidential election. Timothy Yusuf reports.
We will take... Before the last Saturday's presidential election, Situation Room launched its credibility threshold for the 2023 general election, which was shared with election stakeholders, including the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Not interested in the result of the election or who won, the CSO's group observed the 2023 presidential and National Assembly elections were marred by some poor organization, logistical and operational failure, disruption of voting, and incidents of violence. The coalition further demands that INEC conducts an audit of polling units where elections did not take place to establish the reasons for the failure. It, however, commends Nigerians for the increased turnout recorded during the voting and calls for restraints on the part of all, even in the light of grievances from some quarters.
Nigeria is bigger than all of us. Nigeria is bigger than everyone. We need to take this country as patriotic Nigerians to stay together with all of the stakeholders.
IAGA Africa, in a similar post-election statement, reviewed its vote tabulation statistical methodology report from its Watching the Vote initiative. It revealed that the announced election results fell within IAGA Africa's confidence limit and also suggested an audit of the results collation system by INEC.
IAGA Africa also condemns the cases of violence and disruption of the voting and results collation process by thugs and hoodlums. We highlighted the areas where we had seen inconsistencies, but overall, the figure announced falls within our confidence limits and our margins of error. Thank you.
The civil society group, however, believes that the nation's electoral process can be better going forward into the March 11, 2023 governorship and state houses of assembly elections. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
98-year-old Tanko Yakase has commended the peaceful conduct of the 2023 presidential election, advising losers to accept defeat and congratulate the winner. Salihu Gwanara reports that the elder statesman described this democracy as a process and appealed to Nigerians to nurture it with total commitment.
To those who contested and lost, I urge you all, in the spirit of democratic tenets and our national interest, to embrace the outcome and congratulate the winner. As in every election, there has to be a winner and a loser. My call is to the winner. Actually, you, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I urge you to run an all-inclusive government that will give every Nigerian from all parts of the country a sense of belonging. This election has shown democracy is evolving and consolidating in Nigeria, and I urge the President-elect to reintroduce the strategy of National Development Plan, which is universally accepted as a panacea for nation building.
Alhaji Akase also appealed to Nigerians to allow national interest to override personal ambition as the country prepares for governorship and State House of Assembly elections. Similarly, traditional rulers are stepping up advocacy in their localities to ensure peaceful coexistence is sustained, as some politicians are giving ethnic coloration to the outcome of the presidential election in Lagos. Musa Toliat reports.
Satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner.
This announcement from the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, brings the presidential election to a logical conclusion. Traditional rulers and leaders of thoughts are up and doing to sensitize residents on the need to maintain peace and stability across the state.
If there's no peace, there's no unity, can you even go out and vote? That cannot be. So let peace reign. There's no way. And the nation will hold, and somebody will not be aggrieved that no, I am cheated.
All of them, you can't be president. Now one person could be president. So God will just select the person, and so everybody to take pension, to stay well, to peace, to no one wahala. So make a supporter to do good for our Nigeria.
Igbo traditional leaders are particularly sending words of admonition to their communities to eschew violence and respect constituted authority in their host state.
People shouldn't put tribal sentiments into politics. We are going to advise our people to keep calm. Nobody should foment trouble of any type. Anybody that feels aggrieved, whether you lose, if you have lost election, you know the appropriate authority to approach. That means you'll approach the court.
The roads and highways are exceptionally free, and this may have been informed by messages going viral on social media of impending protest by the opposition parties to express their displeasure with the result of the presidential election. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
The Kano Command of the Nigeria Police Force has arraigned the leader of the House of Representatives and member representing Tudun-Wada Dogwa Federal Constituency, Alhassan Ado Dogwa, before Magistrate Court 54 at No Man's Land, Kano. Habibu Hussaini reports that the House leader was arraigned alongside Bashir Dahiru and many other suspects who have been declared at large.
Alhassan Ado Dogwa, Bashir Dahiru, and many other suspects at large were arraigned before Magistrate Ibrahim Monsuriola on 5-count charge. The fleas of the suspects were not taken before adjournment of the court session. The Defense Counsel has questioned the jurisdiction of the court to entertain the case and pleaded with the presiding judge to admit the suspects on bail, a request objected to by the prosecution counsel.
The two defendants, Honorable Alhassan Adodogwa and one Bashir, were arraigned today, and the 5 charges were read to them.
They have been arraigned, and we have collected the case diary from the police. We are going to issue legal advice in the case, and if there is a case against prima facie against him, we are going to charge him to court. If there is none, we are going to terminate the case. This is what we are going to do.
The trial and the bail application are two different things. So once the court lacks jurisdiction to grant bail, it as well lacks jurisdiction to give order for remand. Let the appropriate court take the cognizance and either remand or grant bail.
After listening to the submissions of both the prosecution and the defense counsels, Magistrate Mansur Yola adjourned the matter to Tuesday, 7th of March 2023, and directed the accused to be remanded in the custody of the Nigeria Correctional Service in Kano. Habib Hussein, NTA News.
And away from news from Kano, let's join Kemi in Ibadan for more on Nationwide. Hello, Kemi.
Hello, Najatu, and a warm welcome to Ibadan. The Nigeria Police Force Zone 11 Commando Shogbo is already making adequate arrangements towards achieving a peaceful governorship and state assembly elections in Oyo and Osun states. The Assistant Inspector General in charge of the zone, Sikiru Akonde, stated these at a meeting held with officers and men of the command in Osogbo. Bolaji Akim has details.
Assessing the performance of the command during the last election, AIG Sikiru Akonde explained that the command was able to tackle several challenges that arose during the election. He commended other sister agencies for effectively synergizing with the police, which ensured peace, law, and order in the society. Akonde tags officers of his command to brace up for the coming governorship and State House of Assembly election.
We are collating information from deep down the society so that if there's going to be anything, we have enough workforce to take care of it. We are not loosening our guards until we ensure adequate peace in the land.
By the grace of God, we'll do our best to work more by being vigilant, showing our skill that we have learned and work with it to see that the Nigerians are being protected.
AIG Akonde charged officers of the command to embrace training and retraining exercise and to gap in between official and personal related issues. In Osogbo, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
The Kwara State government has charged the State Media Committee of the 2023 National Census to take their sensitization to the nooks and crannies of the state. The state governor, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, stated these during the maiden meeting of Advocacy and Publicity Committee of the Census in Kwara State. Ahmed Fulani tells us more.
Barely a month to 2023 census preparation is already in top gear this time around with the meeting of the media committee to map out strategies on how to achieve a successful population census in Kwara State. The Deputy Governor, Kayode Alabi, wants the committee to extend their awareness to the rural communities and reach out to the religious leaders, both in churches and mosques. Worried by the slow pace of development in Kwara State, the Federal Commissioner of NPC, Razak Gidado, challenged citizens of the state to make themselves available for counting during the upcoming census.
Without people, we make a success of the census exercise. So essentially, this committee is being set up to be able to educate, inform, and then sensitize the populace, particularly those at the grassroots level.
The Deputy Governor inaugurated the 2023 Census Committee in Kwara State.
Given the scope of the rigorous activities of the provincial census, the need for adequate publicity and advocacy for general public and especially to the grassroots is imperative to the overall success of the exercise.
The General Manager, NTA Lorin Toyin Alade Atomade, assured that the committee will tackle the assignment with total dedication to achieve the desired results. The 2023 National Census will take place on March 29, 2023, 17 years since it was last held. Ahmed Fulani, NTA News.
From Ibadan, Nationwide continues with Ladidi in Maiduguri after this timeout. Please stay with us.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dssPR@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Sportybet sponsors coverage of the Italian Serie A.
To Maiduguri, Borno State government has inaugurated a high-powered on market raised in a fire disaster Sunday. Secretary to the state government, Usman Jideshua, who performed the function on behalf of Governor Zulum, announced the release of the additional 1 billion naira to commence reconstruction of the market, bringing the total amount approved by the state government to 2 billion naira so far. Mohamed Goni reports.
The 9-point terms of reference of the high-powered investigative committee includes appraising and determining the immediate and remote causes of the fire disaster, assessing and ascertaining whether or not there are specific individuals who may be directly or indirectly responsible for the incidents.
To thoroughly examine the magnitude of the fire and the extent of the damage caused to physical structures and assess, determine the type of and amount of relief assistance to the affected victims of the fire disaster, to accurately compile and determine the actual number of persons who suffered losses as a result of the fire, and establish the quantity, amount of property each individual lost to the fire disaster.
The committee is also mandated to examine the original master plan of the market and determine whether or not alterations have been made over the years and the extent to which such alteration contributed to the uncontainable nature of the fire incident. It is also to establish extent to which the fire disaster disrupted commercial activities in the market and suggest a suitable site for the construction of another market to decongest the present Monday market, and how best to avoid future recurrence, among others. Governor Zulum, who noted the enormity of the tax ahead, expressed confidence.
Oh, we've lost the signal from Maiduguri and we apologize for the poor audio quality. The federal government has requested India to grant visa on arrival to Nigerians in a bid to strengthen the existing bilateral ties between the two countries. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyema, made the request at the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in New Delhi, India. Garbana Ta'ala reports.
The G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in New Delhi, India, focuses on strengthening multilateral agreements and workout modalities on how to invest more in food and energy security, counter-narcotics, humanitarian assistance, and women development, among others. Minister of Foreign Affairs Jeffrey Onyema met with his Indian counterpart on the sidelines, Dr. Subrahman Jaishankar, where Jeffrey Onyema requested India to accelerate efforts made in the issuance of business visa to Nigerians as a reciprocal gesture. Both countries described the continuous cooperation in the education sector as commendable. The Foreign Affairs Minister equally conveyed President Buhari's deepest appreciation to the Prime Minister of India for the invitation extended to Nigeria to participate in the G20 meeting. Also on the sidelines, Jeffrey Onyema met with his Brazilian counterpart, Mauro Vieira, and reiterated Nigeria's commitment to South-South cooperation and a group of 77, noting that Global South is looking forward to Brazil's presidency of the G20 next year, 2024.
And back home in Nigeria, the Senate will continue to provide the legislative framework aimed at enhancing the capacity of experts in information and communication technology across the country. This time, the legislators are considering a bill for the establishment of an Institute of Information and Communication Technology in Ehime-Mbano, Imo State. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Information and communication technology, a global trend that is having significant impact on developed economies, with a significant part of Africa trailing. In spite of the concerted efforts of the federal government of Nigeria to fully advance ICT, there still exist huge gaps in the sector. Senate is complementing the executive through the establishment of institutions of learning, such as the Institute of Information and Communication Technology in Ehime-Mbano, Imo State, which has passed second reading. Senator Frank Ibezim is the sponsor.
Provide a well-developed and articulate technical education through consistent research, development, and constant contact with renowned institutions and appropriate industries.
The institution is expected to produce a crop of ICT specialists in electronics and software engineering.
We are in a world whereby our information is and communication is actually the new oil.
And I would want to suggest also that we should also talk about maintaining the faculties of communications we have in the universities.
Senator Gabriel Suswa made submission for amendment.
The name of the institute does not suggest that the federal government has anything to do with it. So my suggestion is that the name of the institute should be Federal Institute of Information and Communication Technology Institute.
We cannot do much, especially in the area of changing the title. And I agree with submission by Gabriel Suswam that the federal government should be there, because as it is, anybody could claim it when it is established, when there's no federal government there. So, but this is only to come during the public hearing.
Senate has adjourned plenary to Tuesday, the 14th of March 2023 to enable senators fully participate in the governorship and state houses of assembly elections on the 11th of March 2023. 7 serving senators are contesting: Deputy President of the Senate Ovie Omar Gege, Delta; Emmanuel Bwacha, Taraba; Aisha Tudahiru Binani, Adamawa; Teslim Folarin, Oyo; Haliru Jika, Bauchi; Sandy Ono, Cross River; and Obasani, Kaduna State. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, stakeholders at the Naval Warfare Corps 7 Interagency Cooperation Seminar and Sea Trip are working towards ensuring a joint operational team of security experts to realize the potential of the nation's maritime environment. Paul Abel has the details.
Naval War College, Nigeria, established in 2017 to train select naval officers from sister agencies and other nationals, is geared towards battling emerging maritime challenges in Nigeria. And for the 18 participants in Warfare Course 7, with one Cameroonian, the model of interagency cooperation as part of the course is very enlightening. The flag officer commanding Eastern Naval Command and the commandant of the college commend President Muhammadu Buhari and the chief of the naval staff for the success recorded in improved maritime security, leading to the delisting of Nigeria from piracy-prone zones in the world by the United Kingdom.
The world will collaborate more easily to explore the enormous potentials of Nigeria's maritime domain, particularly in Calabar area, to the benefits of our citizens.
These achievements are the products of improved maritime security operations, enhanced security architecture, and robust collaboration between the Nigerian Navy and other maritime stakeholders.
The theme, harnessing the potentials of the nation's maritime environment, imperative for synergy amongst maritime stakeholders in Cross River State, spoke on factors to enhance synergy to promote safety, peace, food security, and favorable maritime ecology.
This cooperation, or SEAL, is the key element in enhancing maritime trade and resources management to also create a philosophy that seeks to make trade and logistics faster and cheaper.
The government brings all these gases together, who are our strengths.
The warfare caused 7 participants along other stakeholders also participated in a sea trip to put into practice all they have been taught during their course of study. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria is addressing key components of Hajj operations towards achieving seamless exercise in 2023. This was made known at the opening of bidding and screening of air carriers for airlift of pilgrims, where stakeholders cautioned Hajj managers to take the issue of airlift seriously, as once it is faulty, all other parts are affected.
Airlines, if they perform well, the rest of Hajj will be well performed. But if we get failure from any of you, then you will dislodge all other arrangements.
We should avoid awarding such tedious job to mushroom companies without aircraft on ground.
I'm urging the screening committee to work day and night so that by 7th of March, we'll get a report that we can send to Mr. President for approval, so that, again, you'll be able to get the necessary approval from the Aviation Authority, both here and Saudi Arabia. I want to use this medium to urge all intending pilgrims to conclude their registration with the State Muslim Pilgrim Welfare Board or through the I-7 scheme on or before 7th of March, as the registration for this year's will be closed in due course in order to meet with deadline issued by the Saudi government.
The general Nigerian public through you, that we shall indeed endeavor to do our utmost best to ensure that Hajj airlift exercise for this year shall indeed be a milestone in the history of the Commission in a positive term.
10 air carriers are bidding, majority of them local with a few foreign airlines, and the airlift of pilgrims to Saudi Arabia for this year's Hajj is expected to commence on the 24th of May 2023. On that note, we conclude Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Thanks for watching.